Santa Clara is a team that's been playing really, really well, obviously. I guess let's start just asking you, what do you see that they do really well?
Yeah, I mean, they have really good players. They're really well coached. They're connected. They play with a ton of physicality. They're able to sustain their effort, in terms of the ball pressure and the way that they make things difficult defensively. They're good on both sides of the ball. They're a pretty complete basketball team.
They're a team that I'm looking at their assists per field goal made, and one of the top 25 teams in the country. On the other side of the ball, they're one of the top 10, I think, in the country, and not letting other teams pass the ball and move it around. Is that something that you guys, I guess, at your best, obviously, are going to have really good ball movement? Are those two numbers things that you guys, I guess, kind of would aspire to be at defensively and offensively?
Yeah, I mean, some of that's stylistic. I don't know that we're ever going to be a team that keeps opponent assists low. But, we certainly want to move the basketball. But there's times, too, when teams play a certain style. Like, if you want to defensively, like, you can absolutely defend the three-point line, make people go one-on-one. It's just, can you handle the repercussions of that, right? Like, there's a give and take in every decision. And so, offensively for us, like, we're trying to just take what they give us. And if teams are going to, force one-on-one or limit three-point attempts, then we have to find solutions to that within what we do as well.
So if they do force you one-on-one, and that is something that they do quite a bit, isn't it? Don't they kind of force one-on-one?
Yeah, they have the ability to do that.
If they force you guys into one-on-one, are you confident enough that you have enough guys that can kind of create their own shot and do some one-on-one and beat it, or do you just have to beat it by doing, passing the ball and doing what you guys do normally?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is probably somewhere in the middle, right? Like, we don't ever want to allow teams to dictate us into just, like, one thing all the time. We want to have a little more control of offensive possessions than that, but at the same time, we want to take what defenses give. So there's a balance to that I think, when we'd like to be able to strike that balance of taking what they give us and at the same time not, like, getting completely away from the way we want to play.
I was asking Jake Hall earlier about his utilization of the ball fake or the pump fake, and I see a lot of your players utilize that. Obviously, your thoughts on the importance of that and how difficult it is when you're on defense and other teams are doing that as well.
Yeah, we want to play slow at the end of drives. Jake has kind of had that to his game, like when he showed up, so he's kind of has a little bit of that sort of old man game, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I think we talk a lot about end of drive decision making. We think that involves, like, being under control at the end. We try to prepare our guys and watch a lot of film on opponents, which guys are reactive to shot fakes, who can we get in the air and draw fouls, who's foul prone. So that's an aspect of it that we want them to understand as well. But yeah, I think that's to score one-on-one or find an angle against good players and good defenders, like, you can't always just kind of, go straight at it.
And then again, when you're playing against teams that do it well themselves, like, your defenders, I guess it comes down to just don't leave your feet.
Yeah, discipline, scouting report, tendencies of opponents, like, which hand are we trying to get them on, in terms of their finish, staying down, making people score over you, not allowing angles. Like, we work on that kind of stuff as well.
So much emphasis, like, rebounding is connected to the size, and when you're getting out rebounded, we got to get big or whatever. It seems like the kind of defense that you guys are hoping to play, like, makes it so others can rebound from all five positions. Like, I noticed last year, season, you had like 6 guys that averaged 3 or more rebounds a game. And, like, how does the kind of defense that you play and the shots you're trying to get the opponent to take kind of minimize, like, what size means on rebounds?
Yeah, I mean, obviously size helps on the glass, and but we really value perimeter players that rebound the basketball because it allows you to be a little more versatile in the front court in certain lineups. So, Dayton Allbear is a good rebounder. DeJavis Miller is a good rebounder. Luke Hopp's a good rebounder. So we want perimeter players who can rebound the ball. We feel like that helps us if we want to have a switch scheme or we're in a little more rotation with our front court players and they're away from the basket. We'd like to be able to survive those possessions. So it really is more about the construction of the lineup on the floor, the roster as a whole, in terms of, if you don't have a center who's going to have a 25 plus. I mean, Tomislav does have a big time rebound rate, which is helpful. But if he's not on the floor or if we don't play that type of lineup, we still want to be able to, hold our own on the glass. And I think guards that rebound and kind of trying to do that as a collective effort is something that we value for sure.
I just said because he said what rebound rate you said.
Yeah.
I'm used to rebound average, whatever. And what is rebound rate with that?
Yeah, so rebound rate is just the percentage of the rebounds available when you're on the floor that you get. So right, if I play 10 minutes in the game and I get 4 rebounds and you play 30 minutes in the game and you get 6 rebounds, I might have had a better rebounding night relative to the opportunity. So we want to make sure that we understand not just the total number that you're getting, but relative to your opportunities, what percentage are you getting, because it's a little more relevant to the game and the possessions.
On that note, with Tomislav's injury and stuff like that, do you have to kind of get more creative with how you get other guys more opportunities to kind of attack the glass? And also, can you give an update on how Tomislav's kind of dealt with the injury and how you guys are kind of planning to work around that?
Yeah, I think Tomislav looks good. We expect him to play tomorrow with no restriction. And, having him miss, we never want anyone to miss a game, but when that happens and, across the course of seasons it happens, we've seen it with a couple guys already, it's more just opportunity. Next person kind of trying to take advantage of those opportunities, and hopefully they can, play well or at least, take the minutes and the reps and the film and take steps to be more prepared the next time. But I thought Milos and JT did a nice job in the last game, and those are guys that we have confidence in if they're called upon.
On that note, just giving those guys more reps, I know it was, a smaller opponent, I guess you could say, but how much more confidence does that give you when, Tomislav is either out of the rotation or how much more comfortable that makes you to give those other guys opportunities?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence. We've talked about it for a while. We think we have a deep team, and it's a 40-minute game in college basketball, so there's some challenges in trying to get 11 or 12 guys out there, and so that's not necessarily realistic. But we do think that we have guys who maybe aren't getting as many minutes or as many opportunities who are able to play winning basketball and contribute. And so we're just trying to, help those guys continue to improve. I think they've taken a mature professional approach to it, and we expect them to be ready if called upon.
And then I know you kind of talked about this after the game on Monday, but can you just talk about kind of how much the excitement is kind of built for tomorrow night? 13,000 plus going to be in attendance, whiteout, kind of what your expectations are for the crowd tomorrow? Yeah,
we're excited. I think obviously anytime you get to play a really good team, I think as competitors, everybody's excited about that opportunity. I think, you get to do it at home in front of these fans, and it just amplifies all of that. So we're really excited. We got, today's preparation, a little bit of a, walk through tomorrow, and then here we go. So I think everybody's ready to get started, and, try not to skip any steps and do a good job in our preparation, but we're excited to compete.
Coach, Santa Clara's leading scorer, Hammond, is number 1, and then their leading rebounder and leading guy in assists, Ensminger, 44, didn't play on Tuesday. Do you expect them to play tomorrow, and how different is this team if they don't play?
Those are 2 really good players. We're preparing as if they're going to play, but I think they're in a similar situation in that they have a really deep basketball team. They have a lot of guys who make a lot of plays for them, and so we'll be prepared for whoever's on the floor.
Your offense, you want to attack the paint, Albury, Tenet, get the ball inside to Bouillon. Santa Clara has a 7-footer and another guy at 6'9". They block shots really well, top 10 in the country. What's key for your offense to still get efficient shots in the paint?
Yeah, I think decision making at the end, ball movement, all the same stuff that we kind of talk about is if we're stagnant and those guys can just stand by the basket and and protect the basket, the big kid whose name I don't want to butcher here is like one of the top in the country. Like I think he had 17% block rate at some point. So we got to do a good job of finding angles and finding places where we can finish around the basket, because we do need to put pressure on the rim. And we want shots to come from rim pressure and paint touches. So we're going to attack. We're going to be aggressive regardless of who's in there, and then we have to do a good job at the end of those drives and with our decision making of shoot, pass, lift, fake, try to draw foul, whatever the case. And it's probably not something where it's the same solution every time. Like typically against really good teams and players, you might have success once or twice, and then they adjust, and then you have to adjust accordingly, and it kind of continues that way as the game goes on.
Yeah, offensively, they do a lot of things well. They shoot a lot of threes, around 29 per game. You guys have given up some threes at times this season. What's key for you guys defensively on that front?
Yeah, I mean, for us, our priority is protecting the paint first, and so that can lend itself to some 3-point volume from opponents. For us, it's about making sure it doesn't land on the wrong guys in our mind, right? We don't want their best shooters to get clean looks, but we would prefer them take jump shots, hopefully contested jump shots over rim attempts. And so we got to do a good job. We talk about winning in rotation, getting there quickly, understanding who you're closing out, making good decisions about if you're in a 2-on-1, what's the personnel of those two, who do you want it to land on, maybe stunt to it or close out and force the extra to the guy who's not as good a shooter. So those are things that we try to execute defensively, so that if we are going to give up shots, we want them to be jump shots, and then we still like to dictate who that lands on, even though it's going to be a jump shot.
Right now you're playing 5-6 games leading up to the Mountain West competition. Do you feel that gives you an advantage leading up to the conferences?
I'm sorry, 5 what games?
Home games leading up to it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we always want to play at home. Like, we'd love to play all the games here if we could. But, no, I think specifically playing, really good basketball teams prepares you for conference, right? We've seen a few of those earlier in the schedule, had some on the road, neutral, traveled a little bit. We're getting a good team at home, road trip next week. Like, I think the sort of variety in our schedule will have us prepared for a really good Mountain West Conference.
Kind of touched on what I was more specifically want to ask you about. Offensive rebound rate is what they're top 10 in the country on. Mm-hmm. Does that open up a door for you guys to get out and transition a little more, or because they're so good at it, do you got to keep everybody in?
I think it's both, right? Like we will certainly have to send 5 to the defensive glass, and like leaking out is not really an option with them because they really pursue the ball at a high level. They do a lot of things well, but that's up there, in terms of how they impact the offensive glass, the physicality that they go with, the consistency that they go with. So we have to finish possessions and stay until we have them finished. But because of their aggression on the glass, there is the potential to run. Some teams have found some success against them in transition when they're able to secure defensive rebounds. But if you start to leave early or kind of lean too much into that, then it can go the other way on you pretty quickly. So that's a balance we want to strike.
I saw part of the St. Louis game, but I imagine you've watched it very in depth. They're a team that runs a lot. So were they a team that found success, or was it? I mean, it was a 1-point game, so it was pretty close, obviously. But were they a team that tried to get out and run a lot, or were they a team that did what you guys are going to kind of have to do, hit 5 on the glass, and then see what you can get from there?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were able to do both. St. Louis plays with a ton of pace on offense. I think they're top 5 in offensive pace. So that sort of, I think, naturally they found some of those opportunities. But they also gave up some things on the offensive glass. So, again, like, I'm sure they felt like, there were times where maybe they could have run more, and there were other times where they probably should have, committed more to the defensive glass. Like, I think we want to strike that balance. Santa Clara, they really pick up the ball in the full court, and they're going to pressure the ball early in possessions, even after misses. So, it's not just about the defensive rebound, but then you have to, kind of survive that pressure initially. If you can get loose, then maybe there's some opportunity for transition, but they don't make it easy on you, and that'll be a big part of the game for us is our ability to finish on the glass and then, convert to the other end.
And you're starting five anyway. I know there's some guys off the bench that maybe aren't this way, but it looks like you guys normally in a normal game would be okay with all five guys, starting to dribble up court instead of looking for an outlet. I've seen Thomas do it a few times, Chol do it a couple times against them because they have so much pressure in the full court. Are you guys able to start running on on a defensive rebound, or do some of your guys need to be a little more careful this time and get it to a guard?
Yes. Right. Like, I think we have to kind of feel the game, make decisions on the floor. If there's opportunities for guys to push the ball and kind of start transition, we want to take those opportunities. If that opportunity is not there, we don't want to be reckless and just push for the sake of pushing and get ourselves in trouble. So again, like it's a give and take on each possession, and each one is different. Sometimes we'll have an opportunity and we'll try to play with some pace, and other times we'll have to be a little more conservative to make sure that we have good ball security. So,
and one last thing on that. Independent of this game, for the most part, you're pretty comfortable with all your guys pushing, right? All five starters anyway. I guess there's a couple guys off the bench, but you're pretty comfortable with guys pushing, aren't you?
Maybe some of them do it more than we have preferences. Okay. We have preferences of who we want the ball in their hands, but I do think that we have a lot of guys who are capable. Yes.
Okay. And then I asked Jake about it. You guys, a lot of California guys. What was yesterday like with the snow here for this team?
Oh, it was great. I enjoyed it personally. My kids were excited. That's probably I think that's the most snow I've ever in my life had on my car. So I know we're just kind of getting the taste of that, but it was cool. We've enjoyed the weather.
So Jake said he had so much snow in his car he decided to use the scooter. He didn't have anything to scrape it off with. What did you use to scrape off the snow off your car?
I had a cardboard box that was getting ready to be recycled, so it was all broken down, so it just scraped it right off.
All right, so then the follow-up to that is you guys are having a whiteout. Are you guys going to be able to handle a whiteout okay after the trauma of Snowstorm 2025?
Yeah, we're embracing the snow. We love it.
All right. One last one. I don't know if this is a question for the players instead, but I mean, obviously you're a pretty analytical coach, and a lot of your players are super young, and probably for a majority of their basketball careers they just go out there and hoop. So I'm curious what the adjustment period, if you've noticed any, for them to kind of dive into the analytics and your basketball mind.
Yeah, I think it's everybody's individual, and so I think some guys it resonates with more than others. It's not. I mean, I talk about it a lot because you guys are asking questions, and that's how I think about things. So like a lot of times it comes up in my answers, but we're probably not hitting them over the head with the numbers as much as it maybe feels when we're having this conversation. We have all of that for them, and we have conversations about it with each of them individually in terms of how they're doing, areas of strength, areas of weakness, where can you get better. Like we do have those kind of meetings and discussions. But it's not as like, we're not just like hitting them over the head with the numbers. And so the guys who maybe gravitate towards it more, like that's kind of on their own time. They can watch all their clips. They can look at their numbers. Like all that stuff is available to them if they're interested in their net rating or their offensive rebound rate. Like it's all available. It's all like tied to their film. So it's a really great tool for development in terms of trying to help them understand how we view it, how we're evaluating things. Like we want them to know. But I don't want to just like, it's all numbers and it's not, it's not a basketball game. It's just this kind of stats thing. Like we use it as a tool, but we probably don't like hit them over the head with it as much as it maybe feels like in these conversations.
Is practice also tracked as far as the numbers too? I mean,
yeah, everything. Yeah. So then, like we had, like if the players, if they want to look at, hey, here are my last 50 shots in practice or whatever, they like they can bring that up. I'm not shooting it well. They can go on and look at, all right, is that right? Let's watch your last X number of jump shots. Is that a shot selection issue? Is it balance? Is it are we getting ourselves, are we taking the same shot over and over and it's not going in? Do we need to eliminate that shot from our shot profile? Like those are ways that we use that, but everything we do in practice is tagged and counted and tied to film.
Like free throws too, I would imagine big time, right? Game and practice free throws.
Yeah, we don't like in live play. Like we're not shooting a lot of free throws. We just kind of like, all right, count it and move forward because we're trying to be efficient with our time. But we do some free throw shooting at the end of things, and we'll kind of give them numbers and stuff goals to hit with that.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, guys.